Later in the PM on February 2nd, Nancy Pelosi has just hit the gavel. Everybody is calling it a night, and the sign pops up like it always does at the end of the stream, telling us when we will be back for the next live coverage. So pretty much as soon as this screen came up, about a minute or two later, as you're going to see, I'm going to play it in real time, where the emergency vehicles, whatever they are, arrive and swarm the front of the building. Here they are coming down the street now. If you've been watching mainstream news and you're wondering why this isn't on it, it turns out that key people throughout our government, throughout the media, throughout Hollywood, have all taken the same bribe from the same one or two Chinese CCP businessmen. It's a real simple bribe. You couldn't say no to it. They go around and they offer, let's say, to one executive at each news agency got a meeting with a Chinese businessman, and he said, I'll give you $2.5 billion if you introduce me to that guy down the hall. Super simple. I'll give you $2.5 billion if you tell me the best place in America to fish. Sounds real simple. They also make it sound very, very patriotic by saying you're going to take that $2.5 billion, not million, and invest it in your country any way you want with no interest and no payback date. Now, the second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on favors get pretty sticky. And that's why this United States is in such a mess today. People on both sides of the coin are guilty. If you're not much of a news watcher, I would like you to take any time, day, place, watch the news, and then watch the other newscasts and notice that each story is the same word for word. There is one scriptwriter for all the networks. And that is why people are not watching what used to be the news, which is now just straight up boring propaganda where nothing bad ever happens and everything is rosy every day. But your gut tells you it's not, right? And that's why you're here. I was just like you. I was a Democrat that would have died for that party until I realized that I put more faith in those people than I do my own family. And I defend them more than I defend my own family. And I realized that I was kind of being had. I was kind of brainwashed. And coming out of the brainwash will make you very angry at first. And that's okay. That's part of it. But it will set you free. So start learning. Backtrack on my channel and watch what's going on. So let's get a close-up and see what kind of crazy stuff is going on in here. I would like you to pay attention to, as the first vehicles roll in, behind the first set, maybe six that seem to be right in front, the closest to the right, there seems to be a big panel truck of some kind right behind it. A bus maybe? I don't know. It does seem to have emergency lights on it. And here they come. And again, I would like to stress that if these are basic state or local police, they're not going to make any major arrests. They might be a third-party participant in viewing and making sure that nothing goes wrong, so these politicians that have taken the $2.5 billion bribe get processed correctly and do not get let out of prison because somebody made a mistake. But it's $2.5 billion. You ask yourself, it's impossible to get everybody under control. No, it's not. They print that money as carefree as we print that money. It's worth nothing. That's why everybody's buying silver and gold, and I've been doing it for years. And I come from a community of people who've been buying silver and gold for years because we saw this day coming. Not like this, but we knew it was coming. So here we have just a parade of emergency vehicles that showed up in front of the Capitol the moment Nancy hit the gavel. As soon as that screen went blank, these guys were on their way. What does that tell you? They're targeting somebody in that room for sure. Something or someone in that room has a problem, whether they're here to administrate help or administrate law? We will never know because the media won't tell us, because the media is controlled by the CCP. Why? Because they took that $2.5 billion bribe. You ask yourself how Nancy lives in a 5-story mansion in San Francisco on a politician's salary. That's impossible. No politician, especially elected politician, outside of maybe the President of the United States, which we don't have right now. And by the way, if you are just joining us for the first time, there are 2 governments running right now. And Joe Biden has no control over the military, and I proved that in my last video. And I've proven that a couple times since he was inaugurated. He's not allowed on Air Force One. They would never let the President of the United States rent an airplane. That's dangerous and stupid. The most important person in the country, as far as human bodies go, is the president. The rest of us are all second tier, along with Nancy. She by no means is a head above me. Now, the worst thing that can happen, and I hope this did not happen, the worst thing that can happen is somebody kills one of these moronic communist politicians, Democrats in communist clothing, because then they become martyrs. So this is something that the military needs to take care of until we are clear that the military is in the control of Joe Biden, which there is no sign of whatsoever on this planet. And the reason I'm not commenting on what's going on in the picture is because I don't know. All I know is what you see and what you know. So thank you for joining me. You got to share this or nobody's going to know. And the best thing you could probably do is share it with somebody who's just on the cuff to saying, what the F is going on? Why are we living... Why am I Truman in the movie The Truman Show? Well, the CCP printed a lot of crappy money and gave it to a lot of politicians. That's why. About a half hour ago, the FBI, who I don't trust at all, raided the home of the previous Republican speaker, Kasanda. I'm trying to remember his name. His office, not home, was raided, and I believe he was arrested. There's been quite a few arrests. If you pay attention, there have been congressmen, senators walking out the front door of the Capitol arrested, and no one said a word about it. So peace and love worldwide. Live your life before your life lives you. And please, get over the angry and start helping us save what's left of that Constitution, because it comes down to us. These guys are on the power grab, and they're not going to experience the death sentence if it's the last thing they do. Treason, taking money from a CCP member as a congressman or a senator, Republican or Democrat, is high treason, punishable by death. And worst of all, you become American history, like the same way John Wayne Gacy did, or Jeffrey Dahmer.